Have you considered smoking a shitload of pot? And I forgot to silence my phone.
Welcome to welcome to Friday Night Party Line for fuck.
Victor,
It's been
prepare.
2 weeks. Give me a break. Welcome to Friday Night Party Line for December 9th, 2016. Tonight we've got a few topics.
Did you forget who we are?
You sure it's not December 2nd?
Yeah. We got some topics. We're going to talk about them. That's what we do. On the show tonight, we've got Scott Jansen.
Hey, that's what it says on my ACLU card.
Scott Johnson, obviously. Hey, Skojo, how you doing?
Just, living the life.
Yeah. That good, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, 2016 is almost over, which means whatever voodoo zombie curse has been placed on this year will hopefully pass with it.
Victor, it's only going to get worse.
We have Churba. Hey, Churbs.
Hey.
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 Hey. Hey.
Hey.
We're normal tonight.
What?
Well, I've had like 3 hours sleep, so I'm doing okay.
Yeah, it's like your normal amount, right? If you sleep any longer, one of the creatures gets you, right?
Oh, I think those creatures are called Republicans.
No. You'd think an ocean would be enough to keep them from getting to you, but I guess not, huh?
Oh no, I got the. I feel like a real journalist now because I got the fucking Google banner. Your account may be under attack by sponsored actors. I'm like, oh, George Clooney.
What? Really?
Yep. So yeah, now I feel like a real
and
journalist.
don't take this the wrong way, Churba, but who'd want to go after you?
Well, actually, the best part is that they're trying to break into my personal email, not my work email.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
There's not even any work shit on. Well, there is work shit on my personal email, but it's like not that kind of work shit. It's like stuff for pins.
You got two-factor going, though, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
All right. All right. Well, let's get.
done.
Oh yeah. All right then. Well, let's get started on these topics. That was weird. Okay. Let's get the topics. There they are. Let's get started on the very first one. We got some dodos in the cabinet, guys.
It appears to be this way. Yes.
Yeah. If you've not been keeping up with the political news, and for some reason we are your only source, in which case I have to say, why, people, why? President-elect Donald Trump has been making some interesting choices for his cabinet.
For all his appointees, really.
Yeah, really. What was it that Donald Trump was saying during the course of the campaign about draining swamps?
Well, I will say he has definitely drained the swamp. He's just filled it with sewage.
No, he wants to build the swamp. Duh.
He
Make
wants to build
America
the swamp and
swampy.
drain the wall.
So let's go through. Oh, go ahead, Skojo.
Yeah, well, you can start with your. That's what I was pretty.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's. We are at present working off of the New York Times interactive list here. Link in the show notes.
And in the chat, I hope, because I'm looking at the Guardian.
Okay, well the link's also in the chat, Sherva, just in case you're feeling.
Oh, there we go. Lovely. Excellent.
Yeah, so we're starting from the New York Times has compiled a list of his current appointees. and his choices have been interesting. Let's start with Wilbur Ross for Commerce Secretary. Well, actually, you know what?
You just realized you know nothing about Wilbur Ross.
No. I decided I was going to start with Stephen Mnuchin because that I do know about. Stephen Mnuchin is a big name in movie financing here in Hollywood. He got behind. I think he was on. For Christ's sake, he invested into the DC cinematic universe. Let's see.
Oh, he should be not able to be appointed for just that reason. I mean, clearly.
Yeah. He invested into the X-Men film franchise and the Avatar movie. Not the last Airbender, but
the one that made a ton of money.
The one that made a ton of money.
That doesn't make it any better. That was still a pretty fucking garbage movie.
Yeah. But he did also invest in Fury Road. And then on the other side, he invested in Relativity Media, but he flushed out his resources before they went bankrupt.
Yeah, I mean the thing about him is, if you're running around saying that you want to drain the swamp, and you criticize the other candidate for being a puppet of Goldman Sachs, and then you put forward somebody from Goldman Sachs, I mean, it kind of ruins your message a little bit, but no one's going to care. I mean,
and he's not even the only person from Goldman Sachs. I mean, who is his most recent appointee?
Which one are you referring to?
It's not on the list.
Man, it's not updated list. What are you giving us?
Yeah, man. Jesus Christ.
Let's see. So
anyway, my point is I kind of think that the Treasury Department, you're going to have a hard time not picking somebody who's from a ginormous bank.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could pick a professor or an academic to be in charge of the Treasury, but that sounds like a Democratic move, not a Republican one.
What, picking somebody who knows what they're doing?
Well, no, I mean, there's just one has business experience and the other one has, theory experience. One's a more, elitist. Wait, they're both coastal elite. It's like if you're a Wall Street guy, you're on the coast. If you're one of the academic finance people, you're probably on the coast as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-win. That job's kind of like a no-win situation. I mean, I wouldn't really expect to see anything crazy there. I mean, it would be nuts if they put if Ben Carson had been nominated for Treasury Secretary instead of the nutty thing he was.
Oh yeah, he was like the I keep wanting to say minister because I'm so used to saying minister for Australian stuff.
Yeah, we don't have that here.
No,
the only ministers you've got are the guys who marry people and bore people on a Sunday.
Yes.
But no, this Wilbur Ross bro, apparently he's worth about $2 billion, and he's named the king of bankruptcy because he has a knack for extracting profit from businesses that he's crashed and burned.
Sounds exactly like the person who's our president-elect.
Funny you mention that, because if you remember when Trump's Taj Mahal casino failed in the 90s, guess who helped him keep control by getting the investors not to push him out?
I don't know. Who, Trevor?
Well, Wilbur Ross, of course.
Oh, well, there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, he also bought a coal mine in West Virginia and ran it at subpar safety standards before it exploded and killed 12
that's
miners.
this guy.
Yeah, that's that guy.
Oh, I remember now.
Yep. He basically buys smaller steel and coal industry stuff and then just runs them into the ground, puts them through bankruptcy, and extracts as much fucking profit as he can from that bankruptcy, and all of those little people who worked for them can go and get fucked.
Well, that's why he's now the Commerce Secretary, so he can try to run, American business into the ground and profit from it.
There you go.
Well, yes.
I think that's a common theme among most of the most of the cabinet and the appointments he wants to make, that they're generally unqualified or underqualified people whose self-interest would be served greatly by being in these positions. Like Betsy DeVos,
for the most part. Yeah.
who basically wants to get rid of public schools. So, which is...
I mean, at least she's served on committees that deal with education. Now, they're all specifically targeted towards a certain proposal, and she has no real
job experience.
Yeah, I mean, she has no background on that subject beyond the work experience of working for these foundations. So, I mean, she has at least something. I mean, it's not like Ben Carson where he's running HUD and he's been a neurosurgeon. Like, I mean, well, we'll get to him in a second.
Yes.
Steve Bannon.
The white supremacist chap.
Yes.
The dark side, dude.
I think
literal
Steve...
fucking Nazi.
So what did we say last time? Who's going to be Trump's? Who's going to be Trump's? What's his face? Dick Cheney. Who's going to be Trump's Dick Cheney? Is it going to be Steve Bannon or Mike Pence?
Ooh. Well, if you want to be literal, it would have to be Mike Pence.
I mean, who's going to be Trump's? Who's going to be the Emperor Palpatine to Trump's Darth Vader?
I don't think there's a good equivalent. There's not a equivalent person here because, like, Dick Cheney was like a guy who was not planning to ever run for president. He had an extremely long career as a very influential person. Mike Pence was picked out of Indiana, like, as he was failing as governor, to pretty much be the only person to say yes to be the vice president of Trump because everybody else figured he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Pence, not to go off on a tangent about Mike Pence for a second, but...
Oh, please do.
Like, in a world where Mike Pence was running for president, that would be the equivalent of, like, Rick Santorum or Mike Huckabee winning the nomination. And now we have him as the vice president, and he's pretty much in control.
Yeah.
From what I could tell. I mean, he's not somebody who has a bunch of opinions that are very popular in the United States. It'll be very interesting to see how much control he actually is able to, how much you can control Trump, whether you can or not.
I don't think you can really control him, but he's also tremendously easy to just kind of point in the direction you want and give him a slap on the ass and he takes off like a fucking runaway horse. Yeah. So sometimes you don't necessarily need control. You just need the bull crashing through the right china shop.
All right. Well, I think it might be easier just to talk about who is qualified for the job.
Wait.
Well,
I mean, you know what? Here, wait. Let's be clear here. Bannon is probably qualified to be chief strategist. Now,
he's been organizing. He's been organizing anti-immigrant campaigns, anti-Muslim campaigns, racist campaigns for years. He's very experienced.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give people. I mean, I kind of get annoyed when people try to, like, paint some of these people as, like, incompetent and the most darkest evil person who's, like, conniving and, like, you can't be both, but you can't do it well enough to get to where you're at unless you're good at one of them.
Right.
Unless you're appointed by someone who is a complete idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, then how about this? Rather than incompetent, because everybody in here has some sort of feather in their cap. How about let's try to find the ones that are not obviously evil, or at least not obviously serving their own best interests.
Well, I mean, see, here's the thing again. We're going to run into the problem where what do I consider to be evil is radical Republican stances that are not generally the mainstream Republican stance. I'm just saying, like, look, you're going to look at, like, Andrew Pudzer, right? He's the nominee for labor secretary. and he ran Carl Jr. and Hardee's. He's generally against worker protections and Affordable Care Act. Now, is he unqualified for that job? Now, you could argue as a labor secretary, you would probably not want those attributes in your labor secretary, but that's coming from a liberal standpoint, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he might be qualified if your idea of destroying the labor department was your goal, then he's like the greatest person to put in there. A lot of these people are that, like Tom Price. Like Tom Price wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, and he actually has like a different like healthcare system. But
Scott Pruitt wants to get rid of the EPA.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to get rid of the EPA. I mean, that's the best example there, right? He's like, I hate the EPA. I think they do way more than they should. I don't feel like he's the person that I would put in the EPA, but I'm also not the person who voted for Trump. So
maybe the person who's been one of the biggest advocates for the oil and fossil fuel industry probably shouldn't be the choice for someone who's, I don't know, going to run an agency that's about protecting the environment.
Yeah. So I mean, well, okay, there are a few people like Elaine Cho who.
Yeah, I was about to say.
She's the wife of Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
She has experience doing the job.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to be some crazy ideologue. She's just kind of like a technocrat. Now, I mean, people will be critical because she's, the wife of the Senate Majority Leader. So I wonder why she's getting this job. But she's actually qualified. She's actually qualified for the job. You know what I mean? Like, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
Well, who else here can we pick out? James Mattis for Defense Secretary. He's not a crazy person. He's going to need a waiver.
Wait a minute. Wasn't Michael Flynn the one that gave classified information to his mistress?
No, that's Petraeus.
Oh, Petraeus. Yeah. Right.
David Petraeus was giving. Well, there was this lady who was a reporter or something like that, who was writing his autobiography or something like that, and he was just handing her classified information, and everybody's always like, "This is the same as what Hillary Clinton was doing." And I'm like, no, that was not what they were doing.
The only thing about Mattis is that, like, he's the defense secretary. He's one of the people advising. I almost said Putin. Advising Trump where to bomb. But here's the thing. Mattis, not a bad guy, but generally has kind of a habit of basically saying, do what we want or we will slaughter you, your family, and everyone you've ever fucking met. I don't care if it violates the Geneva Convention.
Well, I mean, again...
Yeah,
it's how do
that's
we
a value
critique,
judgment.
How do we want to critique these people? Do we want to critique them as a normal Republican pick, a normal in general secretary pick, or as like some wildly crazy person? I mean, like if you look at that, at least Mattis doesn't like torture.
On the other hand, Michael Flynn is all about that. He's good with that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, our national security advisor was literally working for the Russians.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
the
need to
Homeland
get appointed.
Security Secretary disagrees with closing Guantanamo Bay. So, but then again, Trump hasn't actually offered him the post yet. So.
Well, I mean, like Mike Flynn's son just had to be kicked off the transition team because he was spreading the Pizzagate story.
This is who I was looking for. Gary D. Cohen is expected to be named a director of the National Economic Council, and he's a long-time figure at Goldman Sachs as well.
But I mean,
Scotia, you make a great point. I mean, if we want to say all these are bad, we're definitely talking about it with the point of view of a liberal mindset. I mean, if you're a Republican, hooray! But
I mean, some of these people are bad, even if you're a traditional like Republican or like a moderate Republican or like even a liberal
Someone with a
Republican.
moral compass.
Like the people that I tend to know that didn't vote for Trump because of they were looking for competency. There are people on this list that should raise concerns.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people. Actually, we joked early on about how Trump was running on draining the swamp. Well, this isn't really draining the swamp. This is more of putting a whole bunch of partisan hacks in charge of things. So he's not picking like the best person for this position. He's picking the best extreme, in some cases, extreme right-wing person or person who he's either of somebody who's extremely loyal to him, or somebody who he was probably told by Bannon who to pick.
Yeah.
Or
Ben
Pence.
Carson. Oh my God.
So I mean,
hold on. Has Rudy Giuliani or Chris Christie gotten anything at all?
He's on like the outs apparently.
Ugh.
I mean, we haven't even talked.
I feel a little, just like a microscopic amount, but I do feel that little bit bad for Chris Christie. He was the first one on the Trump bandwagon, and he's gotten fuck all for it.
I also feel I have a little soft spot in my heart for Chris Christie. It might just be my proximity to New Jersey.
Looking at Chris Christie, I'm pretty sure he's got a soft spot in his heart as well, but I think it's cholesterol.
Oh.
I mean, we haven't even mentioned one of the people who I find the most ridiculous, even though he's more legitimate, which is Jeff Sessions for Attorney General. I mean, the guy was they tried to appoint him as a judge, and they didn't appoint him because they thought he was too racist. And now you're going to have him be the Attorney General.
They also turned him down multiple times, didn't they?
I don't know if it's multiple, but at least once. And the term was because they thought he was too racist. Now, that does not happen very often for judges being appointed.
Also, the other question is, there's a few here that Mattis, Flynn, and Kelly, you also have to take into account when they retired, because there's a rule that basically says you can't appoint anyone from the military unless they've been retired more than 7 years, and I'm pretty sure that only one or two of his military picks so far have been retired more than 7 years.
Well, Mattis needs to go, and Mattis is definitely he's definitely
not making the cutoff, because like he was still in command of fucking I think the Middle East and Southeast Asia in like 2013.
Yeah.
He needs to go get a confirmation from the
he'll get a waiver.
Rather.
I mean, when you're looking, I mean, here's the thing. Like, everybody wants to freak out about each person, right? But the Democrats are only going to get the block, like, maybe one or two of these people. So they're going to have to pick their targets. So if I was Democrats, I would totally just be like, whatever, give them the waiver for Mathis, because there's other people they need to deal with more than this guy.
And then block Pence.
I mean, like, here, another example of somebody who's not like a horrific person, but probably isn't the best person for the job is Nikki Haley as the UN ambassador. I mean,
nobody knows really anything about her policies on her policies on foreign affairs or anything.
You're just like, it's like you're reading the first sentence of this.
No, I'm actually in a completely different window.
The best we can hope for is
I'm still reading about Elaine Chao.
Well, I mean, for her, she's just not in a position that had a lot to do with like international issues. But everything. She's not like an extremist. She's not. She's a rational actor. But I mean,
the governor of South Carolina, that international powerhouse, is not going to have a lot of national experience.
South Carolina does actually have a good deal of, because it's not a very big labor state. It has a bunch of factories from like Japan and other countries in it, so they probably do go. She probably does go on like a trade mission or two elsewhere. So she's been out of the country.
Personally, I think the biggest thing that could be done to stabilize this transition and make things a lot less tumultuous for the Trump administration, with all these cabinet picks. I think Trump needs to just be taken off of Twitter.
I was going to say that. I wasn't sure you were going there, but yeah. Oh my God. Needs
to be taken off of Twitter and basically let him be there, but just kind of, someone's got to filter him. I mean, good fucking luck, but
I still can't believe that he still has control of his Twitter account. Like, it just
Yeah.
boggles my mind.
I'm
that-
surprised that they haven't appointed someone to just stand next to him, and every time he picks up his phone and opens Twitter, they just fucking slap the phone out of his hand.
I mean, it was such a brilliant move to take his phone away for like the last 2 weeks.
you know
of
what
the
you know what
campaign.
they need to do? They need to give him like those toy cell phones, like a VTech cell phone looking thing that you give the children.
A baby's first cell phone that's
There
not
you
actually
go.
a cell phone.
Give him like a leapfrog.
It just like
pad
records
thing.
like, "You are the best. Your hands are big."
Good job.
It's like Kaylee's just sitting there, like, chatting away on her little toy phone. You're like, oh, who you talk to, Kaylee? And she's like, Twump.
I'll be like, "What?"
David
Uh,
Petraeus
Mr.
might.
President.
David Petraeus is, I guess, the Secretary of State candidate.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's seriously going to be the Secretary of State. I literally have no clue who they're going to pick for.
It's like every
Secretary of
time you
State.
think you got to wrap around on what they're gonna do. Nope. All right.
I just-
Let's move on to more.
Oh,
Yeah.
just as a quick note, I did find someone in his military picks who retired even later than Mattis.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, John F. Kelly, his Homeland Security pick. Guess when he retired?
2000.
hasn't.
11 months ago.
Okay. All right. Well, on the last bit of election thing we're going to be talking about in this show, Obama has ordered a full review of the election results and stuff to check into the possibility of electronic hacking in the election-related hacking. And the key part of this is that he wants the results of it before he leaves office. Which,
Yeah, and a news report just came out relatively recently about a secret CIA assessment over Russia's influence on the election, and they just briefed the Senate on it. And obviously the Republicans were a little skeptical of what they were shown, and the big area that they don't have a person in the Russian government like they can specifically point to yet, but they have like the other actors that are not like tied directly to the government. So they're just kind of like looking for that, apparently. That is the missing link in order for them to be 100% definitive that the Russian government was behind it. Like they know that there was Russian influence. They just don't know who gave that order and who was leading the mission.
not that it really matters.
It was
Well,
Julia
it does.
that's,
To get people to stop asking me like, what is an assessment?
Christ.
I think
still can't get
the
over
only
that.
thing that can stop people from asking you what's an assessment is remedial courses.
Well, yeah.
What about an iron bar?
I think that would just get them to stop asking anything.
Hey, man, you didn't specify.
So, Cherby, you were saying that there was some sort of report that's trying to like muddy the water of fake news and the pushback on fake news. Can you explain that a little bit? I'm sure people are interested in that, and that's kind of directly related to this.
I think I probably did. When did I say that?
You said that there was some video or something that's trying to say like all news is fake or
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Now I get what you mean. All right. So, who here has heard of a chap called Jonathan Pye?
I have not.
Ditto.
Well, you've probably seen him in your Facebook feed. Let me just. As soon as I link a video from him, you'll probably go, "Oh, that motherfucker."
Oh, I looked them up. That motherfucker. Got it.
Have you ever heard of a chap called Tom Walker?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Tom Walker is a failed British comedian who got some viral video success by pretending to be a journalist under the name of Jonathan Pye. And there's a lot of people who think he's a real journalist. despite having no experience or education on the topic. And he actually has this video recently about how, all news is fake news, and the only real news is like people who are willing to tell it like it is, but there's none of those left, are there? While looking straight down the barrel of the camera. I mean, to be fair, he is looking straight down the barrel of the camera because he's reading off a prompter,
right,
for his spontaneous outburst.
Well, I mean, don't we have scripts? Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't have scripts.
You have a script?
But yeah, no, the thing with Jonathan Pie is that what a lot of people don't realize is he worked for Russia Today. And like part of his job was putting out basically fake news as a fake news reader, and all of this shit about the rest of the media and how they can't be trusted and how you can't trust this and can't trust that, and all their standard anti-US talking points. And until this July, I think it was, also just repeating Trump campaign points.
So, I mean, usually, though, the RT people, they're not necessarily working for Russia. They just happen to have a message that Russia particularly likes, so they end up putting them on the RT.
In the case of Pie, they had script approval.
Oh.
He didn't say anything they didn't sign off on first.
Wow.
Huh. That is interesting.
Yep. He is a piece of shit.
The fake news stuff and the counterattack to that is very disconcerting to me, because I think, everybody's like, oh, fake news, and as you guys know, I've been on this wagon for I don't know, 12 forever years. Whenever my dad got taken over by right wing like emails, so I think there is a problem where people aren't able to differentiate between a biased factual article and fake news, and I think there is going to be problems with that. I think as more people jump on and are not just educated on the topic and just kind of get on the bandwagon. It's kind of an interesting topic to figure out. It's just the people who bring that point up are such douchebags usually that it's so hard to agree with them.
All right. So don't get me wrong. I love what the internet has done to the ease of communication among people, and I mean, the show would not be possible without it, and but in a way, the democratization of the ability to produce media and put it out and reach a wide audience has created this problem where you can have news that isn't news, but is just, pieces and writings meant to push an agenda, meant to, not meant to convey reality, but rather to distort it, constantly competing with real journalism. And in many ways getting the same degree of legitimacy bestowed upon it by its audience as real journalism. And now it feels like real journalism is becoming delegitimized. That pisses me off.
You think it pisses you off? I forgot I had mute on.
I was wondering if you were saying something there.
Oh. All right, Victor, I've just dropped the Jonathan Pie link in the chat so you can see that video I was talking about at some point. Don't put that in the show notes or I will reach through the internet and fucking slap you.
So, would we consider Breitbart fake news or...
I don't, actually.
I don't consider fake news either.
I consider them biased but attempting to be real news. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to call them real news. They do occasionally publish news which is fake, but they at least make the fucking effort to be something that vaguely resembles a legitimate news outlet. They have reporters that they send to places to report on things.
And they get punched by... and their reporters even get punched by Republican candidates
For a second there, I thought you were about to say get punched by Regis Philbin.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I see, and I think that's an area that we're dangerous, and that's where
What, around Regis Philbin?
Regis Philbin?
Yes, Regis Philbin. No, is dangerous. Is that there? It's going to be hard to keep. It's very important that we keep the left in line on these issues because, the people, especially the ones further to the left, that tend to gravitate towards conspiracy and such, are more likely
who may or may not have voted for.
Oh my
God!
I'm trying to be
guys.
Anyway, what?
On the RT site right now, there is a poll. RT asks, fake news problem as heralded by mainstream media is very real and disturbing, pure post-Trump liberal hysteria, MSM catching up with internet culture, hypocritical considering who sold Iraq WMD story, and fake news.
Oh, that would explain why fuck, I just looked at the how people have voted so far. So what was my point? Oh God,
my fucking body.
So what I'm just saying is that we need to make sure that Breitbart isn't confused with RT.
Okay, I would call RT. I wouldn't call fake news.
No, it's not fake news.
I also wouldn't put it in the same category as what's his name?
Reuters.
I forgot the name. We talked about it 30 seconds ago.
Breitbart.
Breitbart.
Because
yeah, no.
They are sending out reporters and things like that, but they're not trying. It is entirely a function of allowing them to operate more effectively as Russia's propaganda organ to the English-speaking world. That is the only reason they even bother to report legitimate news, is to give them some credibility when they talk bullshit.
Yeah, they're doing a subtle...
Isn't Larry King on RT now?
Larry King? Yeah, apparently he is. That's how Trump ended up on RT.
Now that makes all the more sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Larry King's probably parroting Russian propaganda, but he's just on there because they needed somebody to,
look legitimate.
To look legitimate. So,
all right.
I mean, yeah, there's two differences. I mean, right? I mean, that's Breitbart is the voice of this hard right, whereas RT is Russian propaganda. Neither of them are fake. They might be loose on editorial control in terms of what they consider to be a realistic assessment of a fact, but there's probably something there. I just fear that we're going to fall down this while we're talking about fake news and get stuck in these issues where people claim that Breitbart is just fake news, and that instead of building consensus that we need to do something about it, we end up just creating a partisan issue.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
Okay, moving on. Germany, in a fantastic moment of judicial action, has judges. One of its judges have basically said that ad block is legal. Stop bothering the courts with this. Leo, last month, AdBlock Plus maker got a judgment in its favor for the sixth time in the German courts. They basically said that, I'm sorry, news magazine Der Spiegel, ad blocking is perfectly legal. Now shut up. So, victory for ad blocking. Yay.
Well, the funny thing is that the company that they're taking on with this is also the company that takes money to whitelist companies' ads.
Yep, this is true too.
So,
GmbH.
My only real point on this is I've recently, especially with the whole fake news development, which is kind of, with newspapers and how they survive, I actually subscribed to a newspaper.
Yep.
And I just decided that it was time to get off the everything should be free bandwagon and actually put money towards organizations. Now, I'm not subscribed to every newspaper that I read, but I figured I would put my money towards at least one, and I did, the Washington Post.
You are supporting the journalism machine. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I kind of am a little conflicted because, you know, these papers need to, if we want to have strong journalism, we need to find a way for them to make money without, because not everybody's going to be willing to pay. We've all gotten used to free news and to the damage of these institutions. I mean, there might be more news out there, but there's a lot of crap out there now. So,
well, here's the funny thing: like, the one outlet that has been consistently doing some of the best reporting and some of the best investigative journalism in the last year or two has been BuzzFeed, because they're the one company that found an alternative means of funding that newsroom. All of their clickbait, well, actually no, most of it isn't clickbait. All of their listicle shit that they post all around the place, all of the fucking crap and the image posts and the fucking 100 things we spotted in last night's The Bachelor finale. All of that
36
shit.
Tumblr posts guaranteed to make you laugh at least once.
Thank you. But yes, all of that goes to funding all of their long-form essays, all of their investigative journalism, all of their newsroom stuff.
Their video series are amazing.
But I mean, I really do like BuzzFeed. But don't you think that sort of, unfortunately, makes it so people don't necessarily take them seriously, even though they put forth sometimes extremely serious and well done product?
Look, the LA Times and the Wall Street Journal both have funnies in them.
No, they do. That's true.
On one hand, yeah, there is the argument of the funnies pages. And I think there's also the problem that, yes, there is a lot of people who hate BuzzFeed, but I think a lot of them hate it simply based on things like, well, Reddit, for example, has an opinion that BuzzFeed just steals everything that's ever on Reddit, and that's just all of BuzzFeed. But that's
nothing
just
on
literally
Reddit.
Really. Yeah, A, there's not that much on Reddit, to be honest. B, it was never Reddit's content in the first place. And C, most of the stuff on BuzzFeed is actually not from Reddit and is usually includes original commentary and often things like that. So, you know, it's just circle jerky opinions that people are going, well, I'm not going there to check out if that's true or not, because obviously it's just some shitty entertainment website.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do have a problem with their brand, but I think that problem isn't so much from their efforts as much as from people like Redditors who are smug ass baskets.
You know who else has this problem occasionally? Cracked. Every once in a while, Cracked puts out an article that is extremely poignant. And I'm always like, what is this doing on Cracked?
And then they turn around and put out articles like, oh, there's a conspiracy at Standing Rock.
Yeah.
Here's our evidence. The government has planes.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Like, that is literally that is not exactly literally an article they published, but that is the very short version of an article they published the other week. Where they were basically saying, okay, there's this big conspiracy at Standing Rock because there were planes overhead. And in this extremely rural area where suddenly 1,000 or more people showed up, cell phone reception got a bit wonky.
Yeah, right. I know. I was just listening. I listened to this podcast, the Best of the Left, and they take like clips on. They do like a different topic every week, and they'll take clips from all the left wing talk shows, and a lot of times it's like the Young Turks and stuff like that. And they just did their, which I used to like the Young Turks a lot. I found them to be a little annoying lately.
I mostly object because they fucking reject the Armenian genocide.
Yeah.
So
Pop Trigger is okay though.
The last episode was on the pipeline, and they were playing some of these guys, and they were talking about. They played a clip that was from, I forget which show it was, but they were talking pretty much about what you were saying. They were like, they're blocking our cell phones, they're turning everything off, they're learning how to control us, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, this sounds like Alex Jones. I mean, obviously, sometimes that stuff does actually happen. But I was like, there might be other reasons for this. I feel like you guys are not really showing
Capturing the
me
depth and
that this is
complexity of the
actually
issue.
true or not. But yeah, like it's kind of funny that you said, yeah, well, maybe North Dakota doesn't have the greatest cell reception, and when you put a whole ton of people in the middle of nowhere, like your cell signal is going to start to screw up.
Yeah, this might surprise some people, but they do actually build different cell towers for different purposes. And rural cell towers tend to be built for transmission over range, not large volumes of people.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that one because I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I was just. Oh, go ahead.
the whole article from Cracked, and I assume the what's his name, the segment you're speaking of, which sounds like it was based on that anyway. The whole thing is just pure speculation, and like even their expert is like, well, they consulted a guy on the site who claimed to be a military signals and IT security expert, but then said a bunch of things that didn't make a lick of sense to anyone. Then they also spoke to an off-site expert who was an actual expert who basically said, oh, yeah, no, that's possible. But, I mean, it's much less possible than all these perfectly reasonable explanations.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people have problems with opinion, like someone's off-the-cuff assessment, and they take it as like 100% legit.
Yep.
People should just read the newspaper more. That's what I'm learning. Like,
Yeah.
don't watch cable news.
Yeah,
Read
or
the
That's what I
newspaper.
keep saying.
Or read BuzzFeed news, because I mean, legitimately, if you go to BuzzFeed.com, sure it has that old lol, what the fuck, OMG button, whatever things going on there. And but if you click the news site is really different.
Yeah,
It is
news, top left corner. There's a link for it. Go there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Let's see. Next topic.
Actually, what I will do is I will drop a link for the show notes that you can go and pick up, which is just a link to a big list of all the BuzzFeed RSS feeds, so that you can just you can just pull the BuzzFeed News RSS feed, stick it in your RSS reader, you giant nerd, and that's all you have to do.
By the
You
way,
can
that
also
link you just
BuzzFeed
sent.
News. You can also get the BuzzFeed News app on your phone, which is just the news, none of the bullshit.
Whatever you just posted, Victor, didn't work.
Yeah, there was a plus sign at the end of that URL that ought not have been there. Anywho, let's see here. Spider-Man Homecoming! Woo! The trailer looks so good!
Will he ask Mary Jane? Will he not?
I don't even think Mary Jane's
loving
in the film.
I'm loving the dynamic between Iron Man and Spider-Man that they've been showing.
Yeah,
don't do anything I wouldn't do. Also, don't do anything I would do.
Yeah,
the gray area
it's kind of
between. That's where you operate.
Sin that this movie occurs after Civil War, because it would have been really cool to have him kind of like discover Spider-Man on his own and have this like why they have a relationship before Civil War, and then kind of do what they do in the comics where during that event where Tony Stark kind of uses his relationship with Spider-Man to try to push his agenda, and ultimately it kind of screws Spider-Man over. And it works really well in the Civil War story. But Spider-Man Homecoming looks really cool. I like the aspect. Like, I didn't realize that the one of the people in this film is going to be the Tinkerer, which apparently this guy who makes weapons for criminals. He learned how to use the oh god, I just lost the alien race's name. The Chitauri, yes, the Chitauri tech, and is making weapons for like common criminals, because the criminals have to up their game because they live in a world now where they have to worry about like a god just taking them out while they try to rob a bank. So that's really cool.
The Michael Keaton character?
I'm not. I have no idea who's playing the Tinkerer. I just know he's in it.
Nope. Michael Chiemis is gonna Chimus, I want to say.
Oh, he's the Vulture.
Chernus. Michael Chernus is going to be playing the Tinkerer.
Big cheese Jesus.
But it looks like they're gonna have some great guys like the Shocker, who's like a pretty funny like.
Oh, you don't mock the Shocker.
The Shocker. There's this great comic, The Secret Foes of Spider-Man, or The Superior Foes of Spider-Man, and it's all about this like group of Spider-Man foes trying to like pull one over, and one of them, the Shocker's in it. It's just really pitiful. I mean, the team's led by Boomerang. The guy just has a boomerang.
Oh, Jesus.
it's even really well written.
He's not even.
But yeah, no, it looks cool. I'm highly looking forward to it. But I'm the big Marvel, diehard.
Yeah.
Oh man, do you remember that one where the Shocker stole the Spider-Mobile and like repainted it with that fucking yellow crisscross thing that he has?
Didn't Deadpool?
I was like cruising around in that for a while. I think everyone's stolen the Spider-Mobile at some point. Peter Parker needs to learn where to fucking put his keys somewhere safe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else is to say about it. It looks like it's going to be great. I mean, Marvel hasn't really. I mean, this is a Marvel Sony production, so it'll be interesting to see how much influence, how that relationship works out.
Well, but Disney and Sony decided to play nice regarding Marvel, so it'll probably be fine.
It looks like it's post Civil War as well because he's got the eye squeezy suit.
Yeah. There was that awkward moment where he pushes a little button on his suit and it like kind of comes off, and you have this like the top that's like busted chest.
Oh, he's hot
with his friend, dude, and you're like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yep.
He looks like a fucking kangaroo under that thing, man.
Yeah, and Tony Stark like gave him a lot of tech. Like it's just like, oh, and actually, I think that might
apparently one of the things he gave him was a fucking chest master, man. Damn.
Well, that was a spider bite. Come on, spider bite made him buff. It's the best way of getting buff, right? You gotta get bit by some spiders.
Well, as an Australian, I cannot approve of this course of action.
So yeah,
we here on Friday Night Party Line do not recommend you go getting spider bites as a bulking up or weight loss methodology.
Oh, I do.
It's probably not good for you.
You'll definitely bulk up for a very short period of time.
So I'm kind of curious whether how much Tony Stark is going to be in that film. Like, is he going to? He's just. I mean, he looks like he has like a mentor relationship.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's giving him like a lot of equipment. It's like not just a little bit, and there's just. I mean, I don't know. Some of the scenes in that trailer look like they came right out of comic book pages. So
which is good.
It looks really good.
It's hard to say because, like, in the trailers, they seem to be having him in there a fair bit, and it leads you to believe that he's going to be in the movie a fair bit. But let's also not forget that RDJ is a huge moneymaker, so they are probably sticking a lot more of him in the trailer so that they can get asses in seats.
I don't think he's going to be in the film all the time. I think, here's my theory on the plot. I think that the Tinkerer is going to be like an ex-Stark employee. He's going to have a problem with Stark. He's going to notice that Spider-Man has Stark tech. And so to get at Stark, the easiest way would be to go after this guy who he thinks is friends with Stark. So I think it's going to be like one of those where like Stark is involved, but he's mostly going to be in the beginning of the film and maybe the end to like come in and like be like, oh, hey, maybe you actually maybe should be an Avenger or something. Hey, I think Thanos is coming around, or like something along that line. But I think he might be the catalyst for the plot. I think at least one of the villains that he's going to be dealing with is somebody who doesn't like Stark, and like Spider-Man's just going to kind of he's going to get these cool suit, but he's also going to get some people that don't like him just because of his relationship with Tony Stark. So I don't know, but that's my theory.
All right, and last but certainly not least, 2016 has claimed another amazing life. John Glenn died peacefully at the age of 95, I believe, here in his home around in Los Angeles. Yeah, he died peacefully, thankfully. And that's about it. Just something to bring
Oldest
down the end.
Oldest-
Go ahead.
oldest astronaut to go into space at age 77. So there's still time for us.
Oh, I'm sorry, by the way. He died in Columbus, Ohio. There you go.
Oh, really? Man, I was just there.
To think you could have visited him.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think
and not only that, he was a senator for a while. He had a really
He had a good
interesting life.
There was talk at one point. So when John Glenn rode on the last space shuttle launch, and he wanted to go up there, and because going into space one last time was something that he really wanted to do. I think he was like 77 at the time, and after his initial tour of duty in space, John F. Kennedy and NASA had effectively said he was too valuable as a person to go into space again.
Yeah.
And he had to lobby really, really hard to get into space that last time. He ended up going up there, and he had 23, I think, little probes or attachments to him to collect all his vitals and the basically the stressors and what happens to the body during the course of being in space. And that was a major scientific contribution on his part, because it really gave NASA really in-depth information of what happens to the human body in space. So that was
there was a lot of controversy when he was going up, that there was no real good reason to send him up other than, his fame and his time in the Senate.
Honestly,
if
I
Richard
believe me.
fucking Garriott can get into space.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't. I'm just telling you what at that time, they were like, well, is this a worthy investment to send this person up into space again? I agree with you. I think they did learn something. I mean, you can send an older person up into space.
even if he was going up there for no scientific value, the man is John Glenn. If he wants to go to space, spend the $1 million it takes. Send the man to fucking space.
He just rocks up to the ISS, just floats in the airlock, doesn't say a word, floats into the mess, just grabs a fucking pack of dehydrated sandwich and just floats back off. It's thanks guys, I'll catch you later.
Yeah, apparently. Meanwhile, Buzz Aldrin was just released from the hospital after being in Antarctica and having to be evac'd from Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was apparently the shock of finding the base where they faked the moon landing.
Yeah.
Kids, if you feel like you have the wherewithal to go through the entire effort of doing so, go become a goddamn astronaut. No one will ever be able to one-up you, ever.
Until someone lands on Mars.
Yeah, that's still an astronaut.
Well, yeah, but just going into space. I mean, you can one-up that by landing on another
Look, if there's
planet.
any kids listening, if they're going to become astronauts, they're going to probably be ones to go on Mars, so...
Maybe they're just not motivated enough.
Man, I could go to Mars, but do I really want to put the effort? Maybe the ISS is enough. I said no. Says no one ever.
You got to have realistic goals in life.
All right,
Also,
then. Well,
that bag
was
over your
that.
shoulder looks like a fucking Chico roll packet.
What? What? What is?
That bag over your shoulder looks like a packet for a Chico roll.
It's a grocery store bag. It's got Hot Wheels car packages in them.
Oh, what would they be in there for, Victor?
Well, they are in there for Tiny Car Stories, which I haven't updated in a month because I've been busy with fucking everything else. But I just picked up a package of Volkswagen Hot Wheels cars. It's got a Volkswagen thing in it.
A Volkswagen thing?
Yeah, have you never heard of the Volkswagen thing?
No, I have not. Remember, I'm not the car person.
Oh my god, they're great. But yeah, Tiny Car Stories.
I still say it's not as good as the Isuzu Mysterious Utility Wizard.
That is amazing. You're probably right about that.
Oh yeah, I do see that. That's a real thing. Interesting.
Volkswagen thing. I have a picture of it.
I guess they just didn't really give a crap about names of vehicles at this point in time.
Oh, what is that thing? Exactly.
The Führer is dead. What are we to do?
Let's just build a thing.
Leave myself to name. That was the worst German accent I've ever heard. But I was the one making it.
Yeah, tinycarstories.tumblr.com. Good stuff.
That was like a fucking Jason grade accent.
Alrighty then. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us on Friday Night Party Line. You will catch us next week on Acceptable Vices. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.